Market shaping turns traditional strategic thinking on its head. So if typically companies try to succeed by analyzing their operating environment and then adjusting their operations accordingly, market shapers do the other way around. So they try to adjust, they don't take the environment as given, but they try to shape the environment so that it creates more value for the company and their customers. Becoming a market shaper requires a subtle but significant change in how you think. So market shapers, they understand that the business of business is not just to produce and sell whatever you're selling, but the business of business is to create value for your customer. And the value for the customer is not only dependent on your product, it's also dependent on the system that helps the customer to use the product correctly. A classic example of market shaping already comes from the 60s, when the predecessor of Rolls-Royce understood that you don't necessarily have to sell your jet engines to the airlines, that you can also lease them. And this small change was quite dramatic because by changing from selling the equipment to leasing the equipment, they reduced the capital requirements of the airlines considerably. Another example, which is slightly embarrassing for me as a Finn, is the smartphone industry and how that developed. Because as you probably remember, Nokia was the biggest mobile phone manufacturer in the early 2000s. And they were also the first to introduce their own smartphone. But unfortunately, poor Nokia didn't really understand what makes the smartphone smart. It's not just the device, it is the apps. And Nokia didn't actively foster the creation of app developer ecosystem so that entrepreneurs could be developing apps to their smartphones. Apple, on the other hand, understood that, and now we know which of these mobile phone manufacturers ended up being the dominant player in the smartphone market.